Hi and welcome back again. In this video we'll be looking at some Greek vocabulary and looking at our first collection of adjectives, this time adjectives used in evaluating or comparing things. You can call something good by using the adjective kalos, kale, kalon, which means excellent. And this can be used in several different spheres of life. It can mean something is beautiful, excellent in form, morally good, excellent in action, or skillful, excellent in performance. It can really point to excellence of any kind. Agathos, agathe, agathon, on the other hand, is a more specific term for something being morally good. Gennaios, gennaia, gennayon, on the other hand, means highborn or noble or elite. And we have to remember that in the first century, every society is an elitist society. So to call something gennaios wasn't just to refer to somebody's birth, it was also to impute to that thing or that person a superior quality. They're noble. You can call something bad by calling it kakos, kake, kakon, of bad quality. It's the opposite of kalos. This can mean it's bad or wicked, bad behavior, ugly, with bad form, or rotten or spoiled, of bad quality. On the other hand, if you want to call something morally evil, you should use the term poneros, ponera, poneron. This is the true opposite of agathos. And just be careful of the final alpha in the feminine. Usually adjectives in the feminine use eta endings in the singular forms, but this is one where the rho encourages, at the end of the stem, encourages the use of an alpha, because re is a more difficult combination of sounds than ra. And then in opposition to gennaios, we have tapenos, tapene, tapenon, which means lowborn, ignoble, or humble. And this just isn't just again a reference to the condition of somebody's birth or a neutral description of their circumstances. To be tapenos is to be inferior, on the assumption that someone who is gennaios is inherently superior. But Jews and Christ followers following them invert this set of values very deliberately. And so we see a positive use of tapenos in Jewish and Christian literature, elevating deliberately what was seen as shameful by the surrounding culture. Some of these adjectives can be used as forms of address. So to someone's social superiors, they might say, Chaira o gennaia, using the vocative form of a substantive gennaios. That would be essentially the same as saying, hello, sir. And it reinforces the hierarchy of social status in the city. You can also use agathos in a similar way. Chaira o agatha. Hello, my good man. This can indicate friendship, and so social cooperation. And kalos. You can say, Chaira o kala. Hello, beautiful, or hello, excellent man. This emphasizes that the value of the person you're talking to is in the beauty or usefulness that they contribute to society. There are some value-laden oppositions, one of which begins with the adjective plousios, plousia, plousion. Again, notice the alpha ending in the feminine. This means rich. It's one who has ha or ta plutos, wealth. Plutos is an unusual third declension noun that can be either masculine or neuter in gender, depending on who's using it. The opposite of plousios is to be ptochos, and that initial p-tau combination is a little bit tricky. It seems like you're spitting out seeds. Ptochos, proke, ptokon, and that means poor. Social status was determined more by birth than by wealth, and so
There are a few adjectives that have to do with strength and weakness. One is dunatos, dunate, dunaton, which means capable or powerful or strong, and iskouros, iskoura, iskouron, which just means strong. Dunatos has a broader range of meaning than iskouros. Iskouros has to do with just force, where dunatos can have to do with ability or capability. The opposite of both of these would be asthenes, asthenes, which is a third declension adjective meaning weak. Now, it only has two endings because the masculine and feminine in the nominative both end in ace. So asthenes could be masculine or it could be feminine, but the neuter ending is s with an epsilon. So asthenes is the neuter form in the nominative. The real stem of asthenes is asthene, dropping off the sigma and shortening the eta. And so we can predict fairly consistently the other forms of asthenes. The genitive form will be asthenous, since the epsilon will join together with the omicron of the ending to form the u diphthong, asthenous. And in the nominative plural, with the masculine and feminine forms, we would naturally add the s epsilon sigma ending. And when the epsilon of that ending meets the epsilon at the end of the stem, they join predictably to form the a diphthong, the epsilon iota. And so we have the nominative plural form asthenes in the masculine and feminine. But with the neuter, if you remember, the standard neuter third declension ending for the nominative plural is an alpha. And again, we just have regular combination. So asthene, ending in epsilon, meets the alpha of the ending, and the epsilon and alpha together predictably form the long vowel eta. And so the neuter nominative plural is asthene. Power in the ancient world was often measured not in just physical strength or even in money, but in influence. But still, physical robustness and strength were also highly valued and were a strong part of the ideal male, the ideal leader, the ideal politician.
eleutheros, eleuthera, eleutheron means free, and was opposed to being doulos, doule, doulon, enslaved or bound. And this can also refer to anything that's considered slavish or servile, appropriate for a slave. Because slavery was so universal, it was feared and loathed. To be enslaved was to be less than human. And this is ironic because slavery wasn't based on ethnic identity. Greeks and Romans themselves were often enslaved. And yet, once your freedom was lost, you were considered suddenly subhuman. On the other hand, if you regained your freedom, you returned to human identity, at least in part. Language of eleutheros and doulos was often used metaphorically in Greco-Roman ethics. We should not be doulos to our passions. Instead, the Greeks and Romans valued rational self-control, freedom from desire, and this is what makes one truly eleutheros. Again, the Jewish tradition sometimes challenged this evaluation, suggesting that all should be doulos to God. And this then, in Christian language, becomes typical of someone like Paul, who refers to himself over and over again as the doulos Christou, the slave of Christ. If you want to refer to something being the same, you can use the pronoun autos, aute, auta, which we've learned before, but use it as if it were an adjective. So ta auta teknon means the same child, and hethugater aute means the same daughter. On the other hand, if you want to say that something is other, is different, you can use the term allos, alle, alla. Note that the neuter singular ending is just an omicron with no nu, much like auta. This is another thing that is of roughly the same kind. So allos doulos is another slave. On the other hand, if you want to refer to something as completely different, other of a different kind, you use the term heteros, hetera, heteron, other or different. And so heteros topos is maybe not just another place, it's a different place. The term auta, when we use it in the sense same, has an echo in our automobile. An automobile is something which moves itself, auta. On the other hand, words like heterosexual come from the Greek heteros, different. Someone who's attracted to the different gender. We can order things and people with terms like protos, prote, proton, which means first. And that can be first in value, first in order, first in a whole variety of senses. In contrast, something can be eschatos, and this is where we get our term eschatology, because it means last. And so eschatology is the study of things that happen at the end, the last things. Protos and eschatos often express one's place in time, in status or honor, and really in any kind of competition. Everyone in the ancient world was constantly aware of their place in the social hierarchy, and the top and bottom of that hierarchy were protos and eschatos. Hekastos, hekaste, hekaston means each one. And another important pronoun to become familiar with is tis, tina, ti, but this time without the accent. Now, I said before that tis without the accent had a different meaning than tis with the accent. And its meaning is some or any. It's the indefinite pronoun. So if we say without the accent, tis anergenaios, we're saying some man is noble, or a certain man is noble, or even any man is noble. But if we add the accent, we make it interrogative, and now we're saying tis anergenaios, which man is noble? If we ask the question with ti without the accent, ti elionsu, we're asking, was any olive oil made by you? Ti there doesn't ask which. Ti there is saying some or any. Was some olive oil made by you? Or was any olive oil made by you? But if we add the accent, then it becomes the interrogative pronoun. Ti elionsu, what olive oil was made by you?